As distance runners and as athletes in general, I think there's a lot of dreaming very big to the point where it almost feels delusional.
Yeah.
To other people, your dreams might seem crazy, but really, it's cliche, but like the only person that really matters that believes it is you.
There's a lot of talk in the trail world about high carb fueling and racing for events that are 4 hours and beyond. What's going on in the front of the pack in the marathon? How are athletes thinking about fueling, and what does that look like?
Yeah, I guess I can only really speak for myself and the athletes I know relatively closely. But for me, the fueling side of things has been like a constant evolution because I would say I don't really come from a sciencey background. So just knowing what on paper is good, I didn't even know. But then once I kind of figured that out, learning what's good for, my body personally was a long journey too. And so now I've sort of found something that works for me. And in a marathon, I'll fuel every 5K or so. And I hydrate as well. And then, I know like in practice too, I'll do those things. And I feel like I'm in a good spot now with learning how to fuel.
Can you share what the actual routine looks like?
Yeah. So during a race, I'll use the UCAN gels. Every 5K, I'll do most of them regular, and then I'll do probably 2 caffeinated. And then I'll have those attached to a water bottle where I'll just have water and then a little bit of element in each one. That's what I did at Boston. That worked really well for me. I've also tried using Bicarb before some of my races.
For shorter races or marathons?
Both.
Too?
I tried Bicarb for the first time in a race right before Boston, which was risky looking back, but thankfully it worked out. I didn't
have a lot of porta potties in the first 5K.
I was really worried about having bathroom issues, but thankfully my stomach held up really well. And
it's all the cheese that Midwesterners eat, right?
I can't do cheese. That will upset my stomach probably more than the bicarb. It worked out well. And yes, it seems like more athletes are using it for any distance. It felt like it started more, people were only using bicarb for like the 800, but I feel like I've heard it more in the marathon now, and I really liked it. Of course, in my mind, I'm like, was it just placebo or did I feel good because of that? Because of course there's days where I've, maybe tried it in practice or something to make sure it was right, where it's like, I don't notice a difference.
Bicarb is essentially attempting to delay the onset of muscle fatigue, right? That's what's going on.
Yes. Yeah. Again, I'm not a sciencey person. It's a Morton brand, and it's definitely sort of been like a big talk this year of a lot of people trying it out. And so that's sort of my fueling and how that all works out. But then, after like workouts and stuff too, making sure I'm getting in protein after a hard workout to make sure I'm recovering after a hard session, and all those like in between things too are just as important. But for race day specifically, that's what I do.
Have you seen a trend, at least with the athletes that in more of a focus on these kind of things?
On nutrition?
Lately?
Yeah, I guess it is. I mean, it's one of those areas where if you can hone in on it, it can make a big difference on how you feel on race day and how you feel throughout the race. I've had several races where I just wasn't fueling properly, and the crash and burn is so dramatic in a marathon when you aren't fueling properly. So just learning, because I think from my mind, it's like, okay, how big of a difference can fueling make in a race? But it's a huge difference. It's night and day. Yeah. So figuring that out in experiencing what it feels like to feel good in a race with my fueling, it's like, oh, okay, this is what I needed to be doing.
I think my first marathon, I did like 20 to 40 grams of carbs an hour, if that, and bonked hard at mile 18, and probably did the same thing the next couple of marathons. And in 23, I started attempting high carb fueling, like 80 grams an hour or more for anything that's like beyond easy effort. So long runs that are 2 hours or longer or whatnot. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is so different. Like, I used to finish a long run and I'd be like a vegetable the rest of the day. And I'd need to take 2 hour nap and I'd be on the couch, and it was just like your waste of space the rest of the day. And I started doing this. And I remember after the first, 4 hours after the first time doing this, I texted a friend, shout out to Stevie. I was like, wait a minute, like my mental cognition is totally fine. I feel great. What's going on here? She's like, John, this is science. Like, this is how it works.
Yeah, you just needed some fuel. That's literally all you needed.
Some fuel.
It's as easy as that.
So I've had a handful of conversations with nutrition experts and sports performance experts on this podcast where I asked the question around like, okay, we understand that this is important for people running 2 hour to 2.5 hour marathons. Like, is it important for everyone else too? And listen to the episode I did with the two founders of Carbs Fuel, if you're listening to this one, where I asked that question and one of the researchers or founders basically said, like, it's even more important. I won't begin to explain the why behind that, but slower runners need carbs just as much, if not more, for these efforts. And particularly because it takes longer to cover the same distance.
Right. You're just out there longer. So it's, you need more fuel. That makes sense. Yeah, I would love to go back and listen to that episode to see what they said.
It was super interesting. I learned a lot directionally. I can't rattle off the reason that it's as necessary, if not more. But yeah, it was super interesting. What's firing you up right now in running?
Oh man, there's so many cool things going on right now in running. I feel like there's a lot of momentum in the sport. I watched Faith's attempt to break 4. That was a super cool event. Women's and men's US marathon running right now feels like we're getting better and better each year. And it's, I feel like every race is like, oh, what's going to happen in this race?
No record is safe.
No record is safe. It feels like everyone is on the verge of a constant breakthrough. And it's really fun to be part of that because I feel like, that's what I expect of myself too. Like I want to be constantly, one race away from a breakthrough and, having those people around me and, hearing about those people who are doing those cool things in the sport definitely motivates me to constantly just, keep pushing and keep getting better.
As a professional athlete, what was your takeaway from the breaking 4?
Well, the takeaway was that's an insane amount of pressure. And I don't know how she did it, but it was just really cool to see all the media attention that went into it. And then just the fact that Faith even dared to do it is really inspirational, I think. She definitely put herself in a very vulnerable position for, scrutiny. And of course, she broke the world record. I don't think it can be officially a world record, but just to put yourself out there like that is huge. And
should she have gone for 4:03?
Just a little bit slower. I mean, it is an insane jump to go from, 4:07 to sub 4. But I guess that was probably a part of the media appeal. It's an even number, all those things. But yeah, maybe a 4:03 would have been, that would have been insane too. So yeah, but it was just a really cool thing to be like, wow, she's really doing it, putting herself out there. And, that's amazing.
I had a conversation with someone about this recently, and it was like, the vibe is dare to dream, basically.
Yeah.
Like, if you could take risks, what would you do, kind of a thing. And I just love the way that we see that with Faith and Kipchoge over the years as his slogan is no human is limited, right? It's like, what could you do if you just believe? And so I think it's really cool that they're able to inspire people to run their own version of breaking 4. What's your version of breaking 4?
As distance runners and as athletes in general, I think there's a lot of that just in general of dreaming very big to the point where it almost feels delusional.
Yeah.
And I definitely...
But it takes that, right?
I think it does, yeah. Especially once you get to, if you want to reach a certain level or if you want to break past a certain plateau that you're at, I think dreaming big to other people, your dreams might seem crazy, but really, it's cliche, but the only person that really matters that believes it is you.
Yeah.
And I'm definitely the same way with my goals. I'm not really one to share my goals with the public, but internally I know what my goals are. And I know if I did share them, they probably would sound delusional. But yeah, it's just believing in yourself. And like I said earlier, just keep chipping away and eventually, who knows? And then if you do achieve those goals, everyone around you is like, oh, well, I saw that coming. But it's like, okay, 5 years ago, probably not.
Yeah.
You just got to honestly believe in yourself. And that's the biggest thing.
Fast forward 20 years. What are you really proud of?
Oh, wow. Right now, I guess 20 years from now, I'm really proud of hopefully my consistency in the sport. That's something I pride myself on right now, is just being consistent and being experimental with, the races that I enter. I'm not just focusing on one thing. I like to kind of bop around and, experiment with different things. I also like to, get to know other athletes that I'm racing against. I think maybe it's different from track, but I feel like on the road scene, everyone seems to get along. Like, there's really no beef in the marathon
We need
world.
more villains.
Maybe
though.
we do need more beef. So it's really fun to just not only support me and my teammates, but if I'm in the same race as someone, I want to beat them. But if I'm watching another marathon, knowing those athletes and, rooting them on from afar is really cool. And so being proud of building those relationships over the years with different runners, and hopefully just longevity in the sport, whatever that means.
Love it.